What is up, guys? I do hope you're well, and welcome to today's subscriber stories. If you're new here, please consider hitting the like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell, as it really helps, and maybe even joining the channel as we have a membership now. It's not required, but it's always appreciated. And if you would like your story shared on our channel, don't forget to post it in r/daddycringe. And with all this being said, let's get straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. This story is from Elkrid665. You should give us your camper since you don't need it. As the prophets foretold, the format is crap and I don't usually post on Reddit. The cast and crew for this little production was me, yours truly, my cousin, we can call her L for simplicity's sake, her ex-husband Douche Canoe, S for shitbag, and my aunt, the terrifying, feared, and manager summoning Karen. Recently I sold a camper that I've been living in for over a year to my cousin's ex-husband, S. The cousin and mum are close in our family, but hold a bad reputation for never paying anyone back money that has been lent or borrowed. Now S was a real piece of work. He left his wife and kids for a side lady and has recently gotten back on good terms with my family. Once he found out I was trying to get rid of my mobile living quarters, he asked if he could just take it off my hands. The conversation isn't verbatim, but it's as close as memory serves me. S said, "Hey Elkrid, I heard you were selling your camper." I said, "Yep, you want to buy it?" He said, "Actually, I was curious if you could just give it to me since me and my girlfriend need a place to live for a few months." I said, "Yeah, I don't know about that, dude. I need to pay money off my college debt." He said, "Okay, can you do payments?" Here I must interject, dear reader, for I didn't know at the time that this was a bad thing and had to ask my accountant mother if it was. Lo and behold, it was very bad if you don't have a legal written agreement. I said, "I don't know, I'd rather just give you the full price since I'm just trying to pay off debt, man." Eston had the audacity to bitch at my aunt and cousin after this conversation since he never got his way. This resulted in my aunt and cousin calling and texting me while I was at work, especially after I already told them I was busy. At one point, they tried to convince my mum the camper was on her property at the time, that I had told them they could get the camper and that we would help them move it. Thankfully, she called me and asked if that actually happened. If you can tell, I definitely did not agree to that. Eventually, they all came by and moved the camper after paying full price. I paid off my debt and I haven't talked to them since. Also, hi Mark, have a good day mate, much love. Much love to you Elkrid, a long-standing member of this channel and a truly appreciated one. Thank you so much for your story. It's good that you finally posted on our Reddit. But yeah, what a douchebag. Imagine trying to tell someone else that, yeah, he told us we can take it. What was he expecting like when you came back? What kind of reaction would he get? Just stealing your property. Oh my god. Our next story is from Majestic Penguin 80. No one is home. Go away. My petty revenge on my housemate's horrible girlfriend. Hi Mark, really enjoy your vids. This is my petty revenge story. I got petty revenge on my housemate's girlfriend a couple of times. This is one. All names have been changed. Sorry for being long-winded. For about just over 3 years, I lived with two good friends of mine. Kenny, who I've known forever as our mums were best friends for many years. She was my second mum, and his best mate Luke, who I met when I was in my late teens after moving to their town. All was well with our little house until Kenny started dating this horrible woman Karen, who he had met at his workplace. Karen was very tall, almost 6 foot, and I'm 5'2". Disrespectful to almost everyone, including Kenny's mum, who was going through cancer treatment at the time. Very demanding, tended to be horribly loud and more annoying when drunk, and to be completely honest, for a while I was a bit scared of her. She also spoke quite proudly about how she had been arrested twice, and if she were to be again, she would get jail time. A few months after they started dating, she talked him into buying her an engagement ring. So yay. Not. On Friday evenings, she would make her way from work to our place to spend the weekend with Kenny, as she lived a 20-minute train ride from us, and due to now working in different places, she didn't get to see him during the week. After putting up with her for a while, I decided that on weekends, I would pack some clothes in my laptop, a few DVDs before Netflix, and spend the weekends at my mum's place, a short distance away. We lived in a small coastal town. She actually asked me once if it was because of her I would go to my mum's. Deer in headlights. I told her no, it was because I wanted to see my mum, which was mostly true. She bought that. But there was a few times when I didn't go to mum's, and here's where the petty revenge comes in. This happened one Friday, around the time the sun started to set. The way house was positioned, if someone were to come up the driveway when the sun was setting, the lounge blinds were closed, you could see a shadow against the blinds. This evening, I knew the guys wouldn't be home till very late, and not wanting to spend the evening with her alone, I made sure all the blinds in the lounge, bedrooms, open areas were closed, all doors and windows were locked, and sat on my computer waiting. When I saw a shadow coming up the driveway, I turned my monitor off and hid behind the front door, watching through the peephole. She gets to the door expecting it to be unlocked, but nope, so she starts banging on it very loudly and calling out, "Kenny! Hello!" Bang, bang, bang. "Kenny! Luke! MP! Hello! Bang, bang, bang. Damn it!" When I saw her make her way through the side gate and pass by the kitchen window, I went into the hallway that led to the bedrooms and stood there waiting for her to leave. She tried the back door. Kenny would sometimes leave it unlocked for her, even if we weren't home. Grrr. Then she actually tried the window of Kenny's and Luke's rooms and the laundry door too. Not having any luck trying all the doors again, she left after about 15 minutes. Yes, I was in the hallway the whole time. Knowing that when she got home, she would call the house, I put the landline on silent and let it go to the answering machine. She rang several times and left several annoyed, progressively angry messages. I don't know if she called Kenny's mobile, he never said no. My guess if she had, he ignored it. I did text him to tell him what I'd done, and his only response was, "Alright." He didn't, and still doesn't like confrontation at all. Because of that, it took him a long time to break up with her. Mainly because he was genuinely concerned that she would either hurt him or burn the house down with us in it. Thankfully, she did neither and just ignored Kenny and I. She had nothing against Luke. She liked Luke. These are my favourite kind of petty revenge stories, the ones that they're just like so small where you're just hiding in the hallway staring through the peephole at them. That's the kind of stuff that I love doing, just like spying on people, watching them get annoyed. My favourite kind of revenge. Well done to you, and thank you for sharing on our subreddit. It's truly appreciated. Now we have a short one from Cloudy Lizard. Neighbour calls the cops for non-existent trash. I was about 7 or 8 when this happened. My mum, sister and I lived up a creek and we had really grumpy neighbours across the water. They were always yelling at us for making too much noise when we jumped on our trampoline and the likes. One day they decided to call the cops on us for having trash in our alley. We don't have an alley. As I said, we live in front of a creek. An officer comes to check it out and the following conversation ensues. PO, police officer, M, mum. Police officer says, "Hello mum, we got a complaint that you put trash in your alley. I need to check it out." Mum said, "Oh, would you like to go through the house to check it out?" He said, "I'm sorry, against protocol." He walks behind our house and after a few minutes comes back. He says, "Where's your alley?" To which my mum says, "We don't have one." The PO looks pissed. We live in a strip of forestry in the suburbs, so when he walked behind our house, he got all sorts of birds in his pants. Plus, I'm pretty sure calling in a fake complaint is illegal. I'm pretty sure it is as well. What is it with neighbours like that who just don't like seeing kids have fun? Just because they're making a bit of noise while they're having fun on trampoline. I mean, what the hell? Our next story is from Savage Ink Studios, entitled "Stepmother Shaves My Head to Get Back at My Mum." Hello Mark, I actually told this story on my channel already, but it will probably reach a lot more people here, so I decided to share this with you. Sorry it's a bit long. A little backstory before we jump into the main bit. My parents split up when I was 2, and both immediately paired up with the nightmares I would be stuck with for the next 16 years. Both of my parents' new partners were horribly abusive in different ways, but this story focused on my real life wicked stepmother. We'll call her Vanessa. Something you should all know about my father is that he was not an involved parent. Before me, he had 2 other children with different women that he never saw, so it made sense when my parents broke up that I went to live with my mum. So he made a lot of bad choices, but we actually had a relationship, and I felt like she loved me. My dad and I, however, did not have a close relationship at all. When he started dating Vanessa, we met and she seemed normal enough, but after they got married, things started to change. Vanessa hated my mother, maybe because she was younger, maybe because she was more attractive, maybe because she was my dad's ex, or maybe it was just because Vanessa was a truly hateful person, but the reason doesn't matter. What does matter is that after marrying my dad, Vanessa had it out for my mum. What's one of the worst things you can do to a mother? Take her child and turn that child against them, and that is exactly what Vanessa tried to do. She convinced my dad to take my mum to court and to rip me away from my family. The courts eventually decided to give primary custody of me to my father because my mother had 2 other children, one with a disability, and my dad and Vanessa made more money. Vanessa did try for a long time to turn me against my mother, but I was utterly devoted. My mum and her 2 and then 3 children were the only family I had ever known, and I loved them with everything I was. No amount of trash talking my other family or trying to win me over was successful. So when Vanessa realised she couldn't hurt my mother that way, she tried another tactic. She's going to treat me as badly as she legally could and rub it in my mum's face. That is where the story actually starts. My mum was very gothy and I idolised her, so I naturally wore as much black as I was allowed to, and was very excited to grow up and have dyed gothy hair and tattoos and tons of piercings. When I was 10 years old, my mum bought me my very first bottle of semi-permanent black hair dye. I was so excited, but I told her, "Mum, I don't think Vanessa will let me dye my hair. She wants me to look normal for church. She wouldn't even let me wear black clothes on Sunday." My mum's response was something along the lines of, "Vanessa can eat a big fat weenie. If this is what you want, this is what we're going to do. Don't ever let people like her tell you who you are allowed to be or what you're allowed to look like. You're your own person." And I felt that in my heart. Vanessa hated everything about what made me the person I was anyway. How much worse could black hair possibly make it? Never ask how much worse a situation can get, guys, because the universe will be there winding up the most wicked curveball you've ever seen to show you just how much worse it can get. And that's exactly what happened. I returned to my father's home with sleek, shiny blue-black hair, soft and thick all the way down past my waist, and Vanessa ordered my dad to take me to the barber and have it all shaved off. My father took me and held me down while I kicked and screamed and cried, "No, please don't cut my hair," while the barber gave me a buzz cut. I was traumatised, my mum was traumatised, and Vanessa hated dragging an already masculine little girl to church with no hair, but over time, I adjusted and decided to use it against Vanessa. I never grew my hair out to a normal girl's length again, and bleached and dyed it every colour under the sun, because what's the worst she could do to me? Shave it off? My first question when I was reading this, I was like, what sort of barber would hold someone down and shave their hair like that? But then I saw Savage Ink's comment below, and it said, talking about it with my dad years later, he told me that my barber looked really upset while doing it, but Vanessa paid him very well to do it. Jesus Christ, man. I'm kind of lost for words on that, and I'm sorry you had to go through that. That's such an awful time that I don't understand humans sometimes. I really don't. Thank you very much, Savage, for posting that story. What do you guys make of that story? That is absolutely crazy. Our next story is from Lazuli73, Flooded Bridge and Dumb Core Centres, and semi-updates. Hello sweetlings, it's your favourite Auntie Laz again. It's midnight, I just got off work, I'm jazzed beyond belief, and I'm just listening to Irish drinking songs. Let's do this. Not really a story about anyone in particular. No Karens, no EKs, not even a little bit of a revenge. Just my work night, the immediate before this post. Just thought you might like to revel in my inconvenience/misery as a palate cleanser from all the Karens and friends backstabbing friends and pet kidnapping. As all you might recall, I work in a franchise pizza joint. For convenience sake, I'll abbreviate the store to PH, so my PH is located in a small city I mentioned in my last post. What I didn't mention was the major natural landmark running through the city. A large river cuts through the city. It's wide and deep, and though the water looks fairly calm, it's a river with fast current and lots of hidden rapids. It's also where the winter/spring flood water flows. Every spring, the river swells considerably, breaching its banks nearly every spring. We had a very wet 2019 autumn, much to the farmers' chagrins, RIP Harvest 2019, and the river systems were already well swelled before winter grabbed my province by the balls. Now, I don't live in a small city. I have to make a 25-minute commute from my small hometown. Why would someone drive 25 minutes one way for minimum wage? Well, when your hometown is where business goes to die, you learn to live with it. Unfortunately for me, due to the high floodwaters, my usual commute was disturbed. My usual commute takes me over the river, to which there are basically two bridges I can choose from. The better route for me is the Blue Bridge. The Blue Bridge is old, narrow, kinda scary bridge to drive on, but it hasn't collapsed yet, so I'm sure it's fine. However, it's very low, so the city closes the bridge when the waters are high. I mean, fair enough, it's whatever to me. A minor lengthening of my commute, maybe 5 minutes? Well, I have crippling anxiety about being late for anything, so I always leave my house unbelievably early for work anyways. No big deal. Big deal. Big deal that I didn't expect, and a big deal that pizza joint didn't expect either until we got a delivery to small city's sister, even smaller sister town. See, to deliver to sister town, we need to cross small bridge. Well, our delivery runtime increases to well over quadruple without access to the bridge. For that first run, the driver had a lucky surprise of discovering the bridge was closed and had the pleasure of driving the long way round. I asked him about taking the scenic route. He said it was relaxing. I found it stressful. You'll know why in a minute. But we can't have such long delivery times. It hinders our numbers and pegs us down to one crewman at the shop for way longer than we can afford. So a co-worker makes his delivery and life goes on. They go home and closing crew is left for the night. Me, Laz, and N, another co-worker of mine, At 21:30 hours, we, to my dismay, got 2 deliveries. One was to sister town, FML, without any lube. So whatever, we quickly make the delivery orders, along with the late night walk-in order, and I head out. The first went about as smooth as your trip to the toilet after a night of tequila and cheap fast food tacos. The moronic GPS kept taking me in circles, and gods, I just want to hurl my damn phone out the window, and it was just down the main street. And when I started on the sister city delivery, for the first while it was kind of humorous to me. I plugged in my direction ally, DAR phone into my aux cord to listen to some music, since I knew it would be a long ride. I already knew Google Maps would dampen the music when it needed to tell me something, so it was whatever. Well, Google needed to tell me things so often, it was basically a remix of Hometown by Shepherd, my favourite song by the way. Though Siri's voice never changed in tone, I could feel the AI symbolically rolling her eyes as she constantly begged me to take left turns and U-turns to go back to the most efficient way. Trust me, I'd love to, but you need to account for detours. The humour died around the 5th time her emotionless begging ruined the chorus of my music. Eventually, I made my delivery, hoping to God the stupid call centre that we operate under would understand why we can't make these deliveries until the floodwaters flow down. Also, I hit a massive pothole, which I didn't see on the pitch dark black road. I swear the headless horseman was going to start chasing me down, and it stressed me out even more. At the end of the night, I made $9 in tips and got paid time and a half because it's Easter weekend. Happy reverse Uno card to Death Day, Jesus. Now, I guess onto the semi-update, if we're going to call it that. When you featured me, Mark, thank you for that, you fantastic bastard. My ego soared for at least 2 days. You asked me to let you know the pizza slice about pizza profit and giving baby boomers their way. Well, unfortunately, none of us are going to like the answer I have. To my dismay, as much as I would like to let loose and tell Baron, that asshole, to piss off and take his unsatisfaction with him, I simply can't. I have a corporate gun in my back and it's making me smile and wave, boys. Unless my boss tells me to tell this guy off, I'm not going to. If he makes a complaint, our call centre's first course of action to make them piss off is to placate and enable customers like this. Mostly in giving them free food or store credit. It's a franchise after all. That's how franchises work, much to very popular opinion against it. That's probably why so many people treat fast food workers like garbage. They leave scattered all over their tables, corporate will almost cave to make them piss off, so why be nice? And as a side note, I think it's a very small franchise too. Local only to small city and a couple of other random cities in my province. So there's not a lot of risk they can take when it comes to customers and potential bad reviews like, say, the Golden Arches. And you're right, Mark, we're probably making Dick squat on that pizza, but he doesn't come in very often. Often enough that we know his face and his preferences to order, so therefore a regular. But thankfully, I personally haven't seen him since that day. And on the bright side, a very small one in the introvert power move times, he physically can't come into the store anymore due to our COVID protocol. If he can't watch us make his pizza, I'm going to put the proper amount of pineapple. Suck my metaphorical dick, boomer. Also, Mark, I hope you got your pizza. Everyone deserves good pizza, except people like Baron. They don't deserve nice things if they can't act like it, but they think the manager will give it to them anyway. Unless we abolish the attitude bollocks of the customer is always right. I swear Karen's chant that every morning after harassing a poor teenager working at Buckstars, using live, laugh, love in place of amen. I do love the way you write your stories, Lazuli. It's very enjoyable. And I got to say, if anyone hasn't heard the pizza one, go to one of our previous subscriber story videos and you will see Lazuli's story there. It will give you some clarity on the pizza stuff. Many moons ago, I tried out like going self-employed for some sort of delivery thing. It was a test that it didn't work so well, but I remember having anxiety about delivering stuff and my sat nav taking me around in circles and I was sweating and all that kind of stuff, so I can totally get where you're coming from with that, and looking in your rear mirror and seeing possibly the headless horseman chasing you down. Thank you, Lazuli, for sharing your story. It is much appreciated. Our next story is from Kiddo and Jerry. 4 girls, 1 shy, 1 smart, 1 loud, and 1 whiny. Hello, fellow Redditors. Don't know if this fits here, but I was watching Mark reading some stories and I remembered a story from last year. English is my first and only language and I'm on desktop, so if there are any errors, call me out. I hate spelling errors, but I never catch them when I make them. I think this is more of an entitled kid story rather than an entitled people story, but I don't know. You can make that judgment if you want, or call me a selfish prick. I don't really care. Nothing here is completely exact, because I have the memory of a potato, but I'm recounting it as best as I can. There are no swears unless you count hecking, so it's YouTube safe if Mark decides to read this. This is long, so brace yourselves. This happened last December before Christmas. A bit of backstory: every December my family decides either to go to my dad's parents' place or my dad's side of the family comes to our place for a little Christmas party. I have many cousins on that side of the family. I've lost count. Not everyone could make it last year, but the majority of my younger cousins, all under 7 I think, were able to make it. To combat the boredom of the kids, my dad downloaded a Just Dance knockoff on our Xbox. There were only like 8 songs you got for free with that game. My dad didn't want to pay any money to get more songs for a game that was going to be used for one day. We knew who was coming because everyone let my dad know who could and couldn't attend. Now, onto the events of the Christmas party. There were many adults at this party, including myself. I told my parents months ago that I didn't want to look after crotch goblins on that day. I wanted to hide in my room like my brothers. They said that was fine. My mum even said, "We wouldn't make you do that." Haha, I wouldn't be writing this story if they kept their word. My family and I set up the main living room, games room and dining room for the guests to arrive. We set out plates of food, arranged chairs so everyone has a place to sit, and play Christmas music and a slideshow of family photos. I was looking forward to sitting on my computer all day, occasionally going out to grab snacks, mingle with the adults and wincing every time I hear the younger kids, or girls, dancing with the Xbox. But then, my mum asked me a question that kicked off this day. She asked me to show the girls how to use the Kinect, just so they would be distracted. This wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but I was relieved she didn't ask me to babysit. Now, I don't hate kids, but if they're under a certain age, then I will get annoyed very fast. The family start arriving, we greet them, and everyone goes to get little paper plates of food. I switch the Xbox on, and my dad sends the girls over to me to teach them how to use the Kinect. There were 4 girls total, and the game could only handle 2 of them at a time. I was hoping these girls were at least chill enough to be relatively behaved while their parents were in the other room. I overestimated the maturity of 4 to 7 year olds. Here's the nicknames for the children: Brit, the whiny one, and one letter different from Brat, Ellie, the smartish one, Anna, the shy one, and Abba, the screecher. Now, the Just Dance ripoff had 2 player capabilities. You could either be blue or pink. It didn't matter what colour you had though, the moves were the same regardless. But these being little girls, of course, all of them wanted pink. Anna didn't want to dance, so Brit, Abba and Ellie all took turns, after struggling to explain the concept of taking turns. Ellie and Abba were pretty good at taking turns, and neither really minded who was pink because they knew that we could get them to switch colours and take turns being pink. But oh boy, Brit was very different. She wanted to be pink all the time. I tried to make both blue and pink sound as whimsical as possible, saying the 2 roles were either the blue butterfly princess or the pink mermaid princess. I thought this would make both sound just as good. Yeah, no. Her mother and I tried to get her to share with the other 2, but she just kept whining until she got her way. That was the running theme for that day. I knew this would be a long one, so I asked my boyfriend to get me a vodka/Sunkiss because I was already done. It wasn't even 10:30 yet. A little bit later, Ellie and Abba revealed that they had balloons. Only 2 though. 1 for each of them. Of course, they all started fighting over balloons. My idea to resolve this: I had a pack of balloons I was going to use for a project that I never ended up using. I grabbed a pink and a purple one, blew them up and tied them with rainbow yarn. I gave the remaining 2 girls each a balloon that calmed them down. The other 2 came over to replace their cheap ribbon with rainbow yarn too, which I did. Then my dad had the bright idea for me to ask the girls if they want me to draw them a picture. He always suggested this when there's little kids and they have to be entertained. I begrudgingly obliged and grabbed the sketchbook and drawing materials. They all sit over me and watch me draw, which made me a bit shaky because I hate people watching me draw. Lucky for me, they got bored, so I just did some quick doodles on their balloons in Sharpie and they went on their way. I sat against the wall and controlled the screen from where I sat. Now for those who don't know, the Kinect is like a little camera type device that you hook up to your Xbox. It basically makes you the controller. With this, you don't really need an actual controller, but I was using it because Kinect was struggling to pick up the girls. Remember, they're 4 to 7 year olds, they are hecking tiny. Some girls try to control it with their hands, but the Kinect was struggling. Here's an example of that. It was Brit and Abba's turn to dance. Ellie and Anna sat by me. Of course, Brit was pink because she was complaining about it again. She was trying to move the screen, but struggling. The little hand thing was flickering all over the screen, so I helped her out and chose the song she wanted with a controller. She burst into a crying fit. It took 5 minutes and her mother asking her what was wrong before she finally said she wanted to control the screen. I relented and let her give it a try. She spends 10 glitchy minutes trying to select songs she wants and is getting fussy again. She has a mini breakdown every 3 minutes. I get it, she's young, but the other 3 weren't like this. Eventually she gets it, but it was painful to say the least. Brit was the only girl who cried all day. The other 3, though occasionally loud, were lovely. I watched these kids for free, dancing, drawing, watching them, hearing them scream and cry and shriek. I did all this for the 6 hours that they were at our house. Oh, and the cherry on top of this lovely day, my favourite mug, a heat sensitive Constellation one, was put in the dishwasher. It says on the bottom it's not dishwasher safe. It was upside down on the sink, so whoever put it in would have seen the warning. Now I'm missing a Constellation and have a massive white patch ruining my spacey mug. Sorry this was so long. Like I said, I tend to babble. Thanks for reading though. If it is in the wrong place, let me know and I'll delete it. Oh man, that last bit hit me hard. Someone ruined my Pac-Man mug at work by doing exactly the same thing. Oh god. Be interesting to know, I'm not sure if we saw it in there, how old you are compared to them. Does your parents always rely on you with little kids like that? And what were their parents doing the whole time? Just quite happy to let you deal with them the whole day? I mean, it's not really on, is it really? Once again guys, I'd like to thank you for being here today. It's truly appreciated. The time out your day when we're going through craziness out in the world. Taking the time out your day to watch these videos is really appreciated. Thank you once again. And if you want your story shared, don't forget to post it in r/daddycringe, and I will see you in the next one. Much love.